As Riders Up Tim wants me to say, talk a derby to me. Oh, Tim, making me say funny things here. Yes, Trust the Profits is the formula here. Talking Kentucky Derby to you. That's right, you, the listener, listening to me talking Kentucky Derby. Thank you very much for being here in this new year 2025 as we start to talk about the prep races, both in the past and in the future, for the 151st running the Kentucky Derby. Exciting times. I'll be going through the schedule of those prep races, going through recent races because there's been many. I would say in the past month, there's a bunch to cover there, and that will dovetail nicely into the power rankings. So I'm going to do power rankings a little bit towards the end because it does build a nice little story. Upcoming races, just going to talk about Lecomte, not coming up this weekend, but it's going to be the weekend after this weekend. Don't even have the possibles and probables out yet. It's just talking about what happened in the past and what the lookup looks like. 115 days until the Kentucky Derby. Do the math on that one. That's like 3.5 months. That's really more like 4 months, if I'm honest with myself. But yeah, we're gonna have some fun here, and of course the AI image of the week. I'm using the term AI loosely here, but when Val Baffert enters 3 horses in a 5-horse race and all 3 of them lose, Green Bay Packer fans get a little upset. No, Chicago Bears trying to do a Lambeau lead. Oh, Karen. Moving on, we're talking 2024 prep races now. Talked through a bunch of these already in previous episodes. The ones that have come up most recently, the Remsen getting a win from Poster, Springboard Mile, Pole Battle, and Los Alamitos Futurity, Journalism, and Gun Runner Stakes built. Those last 2 especially are races that, I like the Remsen too. Those 3, I should say. Springboard Mile, not so much, but Remsen, Los Alamitos Futurity, and Gun Runner Stakes have been fun races lately in terms of horses that do have a nice little future, whether it be in the Derby or not, or something past the Derby in some cases. Derby level horses that get injuries along the way and end up projecting out nicely afterwards. After that, we got 2025, Smarty Jones and Jerome Stakes, a little bit lesser races, especially in terms of projecting out towards the Kentucky Derby, and then we have a whole field of races coming out after that. Lecomte being the next one on January 18th. Fun times indeed, fun times. Coal Battle and Cyclone State in that one. Coal Battle, make sure you zoom in. Oh no, Coal Battle's coming up next. My bad. A year ago, we got 2 races, the Remsen and Smarty Jones. If you watch these 2 races, you will have seen 3 of the top 5 Kentucky Derby finishers in 2024. The 3 American finishers. The only ones you don't see here are Forever Young. Don't get me started on Rod Stewart. And Teo Password, the 2 Japanese horses. Other than that, second place here at the Remsen, Dornock. Second place, Sierra Leone. Dornock finished first, but second place in the Kentucky Derby and second place at the Remsen, Sierra Leone. And you also have in your domestic product. So that's 3 Derby horses in that one race, winning the second place horse. And then going to Oak Lawn for the Smarty Jones. Yes, I said Smarty Jones. Catching Freedom, getting 4th place in the Derby this past year. Just Steel, who I thought was a strong horse. We haven't seen a lot of him since, if anything. And Mystic Dan, your Derby winner, got 5th in the Smarty Jones. How about that? So if you watch those 2 races in December and January 1st, early January, what a lot of people consider a dead time, you're covering a lot of ground there in terms of Kentucky Derby success. I just want to throw that out there. So people want to poo-poo some of these races. There's value here. You're going to see some Derby horses. All right, let's move on. This is what I was getting to with Coal Battle here. So Coal Battle on December 13th, winning the springboard. Not the most acclaimed race. It's a mile. He had a nice little half a length victory in that one over Speed King. Dominant Spear coming after that. And then turns around less than a month later, running in the Smarty Jones, getting more points there, and getting a 4-length victory over More Quality, stretching it out to 8.5 furlongs. Not too bad. Well done, Coal Battle. Not the greatest of races. Not the greatest in terms of projecting out. Not what I would call thrilling times of 1:39.25. Not bad for a mile. Pretty good. The the 146, 43. You know, Colt Battle is starting to win, though. Let's put it that way. Colt Battle's starting to do some good things, beating the horses who are trying to gear themselves up for the Kentucky Derby. So waiting to see more from Colt Battle. The horse that I believe started off at like Evangeline or something like that. Pretty nice little story there for Colt Battle. And we are moving along here. So Smarty Jones, looking at past history, other than catching Freedom last year, coming in fourth place in the Derby itself. Mystic Dan in that race as well. If you look at the winners, though, you don't see a whole lot in terms of Derby success. Horses even entered it. Got a whole bunch of NAs, not applicable. So it hasn't exactly been, in terms of the winners, good projecting who's going to be in the Derby. Sacrosanct, pointing him out because he got a fourth win here. 3 of them in stakes races, non-graded stakes races, winning by a head over National Identity. 7 furlongs. You know, it's worth noting because I think he's on my list here, but a 1:24.7 furlong time. Let's compare that to Barnes, who just ran in the G2 San Vicente with a 1:22.15. A lot of people lighting their hair on fire with Barnes right now. Has 2 wins in 2 races, including one where he broke his maiden. This one of 7 furlongs in a scant field, and you know what? Instead of talking through it, how about I just scroll down here and show it to you?
There goes Barnes, opening up a length and a half quickly on McKenzie Street in second. Bullard set down. He's under serious pressure as Barnes turns for home. Full of run in the San Vicente, opening up by 3. Romanesque rallying in between horses. Bullard on the outside, but it's a 1-horse race coming to the 16th pole. Barnes is a beast. Another San Vicente for Bob Baffert. This time it's Barnes, handridden to a 6-length victory.
Yeah, Barnes is a beast, absolutely. We look at here, 5.5-length victory over Romanesque, another Baffert horse here. But the field is pretty scant. McKenzie Street is really starting to fade. Going 7 furlongs here, fading down to 5th. Pretty hot, though. I mean, you look at that 4 furlong mark, 45 seconds. That's pretty hot, even for 7 furlongs. But it's a good time, 122. I want to see Barnes do a little bit more here. And if we compare that to previous years, right, so there's a lot of NAs here. Muth, Forbidden Kingdom, Concert Tour, Nadal, all these horses were guaranteed the Kentucky Derby would have gotten there if it weren't for injury, if it weren't for other circumstances, right? I mean, obviously Muth, they didn't transfer Barnes, so he didn't make it. I can't remember if he actually was healthy enough around Derby time in order to qualify to run in the Derby, but then you got Nyquist here as well, Nyquist being the winner of the Kentucky Derby in 2016, so yeah. So even though there's a lot of NAs, I think this is a really strong race, especially in terms of targeting horses towards the Derby. If you look at the times here, so Barnes ran a 1:22. I do like to compare times. Pretty good. Better than Muth, better than Having a Meltdown. Not as good as Sparky Vile, not as good as Iliad, not as good as Nyquist by far. But yeah, he's sitting around that mark here. Who was I looking at earlier? Yeah, Having a Meltdown, comparable to that. Not exactly what I would call the best Baffert horse. To me, I don't want to sound like I'm picking on the horse too much. I just think that there's other horses out there that have done more. And it's not to say that Barnes won't be moving his way up on my power rankings. I just want to see him on 2 turns. I want to see him doing a little bit more. I want to see him run against bigger fields, getting a tighter time, maybe something closer to the track record. I know it's asking a lot, but I think other horses out there have been doing more. Barnes moving up my list. I'm not ready to get on Twitter and call him the Derby champion just yet, though. Moving along, Built. Small field, but I like what's happening here with Built. Let me pop out here and show you guys a video as well.
And it's still Built with Magnitude, who's been right there with Built, who clocked a half mile in 49.23 seconds, just inside 3 furlongs to go. It's been smooth sailing indeed for Built. Built leads toward the quarter pole from Magnitude as Admiral Dennis is now coming up with a bit on the outside. Render Judgment straightens away in 4th. Chris's Revenge is last. These 2-year-olds head for home here at the fairgrounds after 3 quarters for Built in 1:13.77 seconds. And Built has building up a big lead, coming down toward the final 16th, and Built has the kick. Magnitude chased Built throughout. Render Judgment is third, and Built just steamed away from them in the gun runner. Won by 7.
Yeah, Built winning the gun runner by almost 7 lengths there over Magnitude. You see the kick down the stretch there. I mean, he was really pulling it out, going gate to wire, getting pressure from Magnitude, holding it off. Look at the fractional times, 49-second, 4 furlong, not fast at all. Not fast at all. So I think he definitely benefited from that. But you look at the final time, 1:43.53. I think he put it together there. I think he put together a pretty strong race in general, regardless of that. Had what he needed down the stretch to kick. Is he going to be a pace setter in other races where it's not 5 horses? No, I don't think so. I mean, I look at that 49-second, 4 furlong time, and I'm thinking, yeah, this is more of a horse. It's probably going to be 1 to 2 to maybe even 3 lengths off, but he's going to have a real strong kick. He's going to maintain that close proximity, and where he's going to excel is that stretch power you saw down at the end there. So I'm actually starting to get a little bit high on Bill here. And in terms of the gun runner, the last 3 winners have actually gone into the Kentucky Derby Epicenter, getting second in his year. So you look at Built, his time better than all 3 of them. He broke 1:44. So time better than Epicenter. Not to say that he's better than Epicenter. That's a tall order. Epicenter was an outstanding horse in his year. But what we can say here is that Built is definitely doing the things that he needs to do early on to prove himself out here. So curious to see what he does next. I've got him pretty high on my list. Probably higher than most. Guns Loaded, Mucho Macho Man. This is a 1 mile. And if you watch this race, I don't have a clip of this one here, but someone made the comment on Twitter. I think it was Urban Sniper Barry was talking about all the other horses. Was it their plan just to watch Guns Loaded? Because early on, they just let him have the lead, and he wasn't spectacular. Ran a quicker race, I guess you could say, in those first 4 furlongs than what we just saw from Built, and everyone just sort of let him go. Treaty of Rome had a nice little kick down the stretch and almost closed that out for the victory. But yeah, Guns Loaded stretching it out from 1.5 lengths to 2 lengths to 3 lengths, going easy down the stretch, and then almost lost at the end there. Treaty of Rome at another half of a furlong, go 8.5. Maybe Treaty of Rome ends up winning that one. So am I impressed by this race? No, not outstanding, but in the past, Simplification, you can point him out as being the winner from this, but you don't see a whole lot else coming out of the Mucho Macho Man. A lot of NAs there. Guns Loaded, curious to see what happens next. Definitely the Equibase figure doesn't hold a lot of value for right now. Then we move on to the Los Al, and I do have a video of this for y'all.
And he's coming through now to challenge. He's got the rail option as Gaming pulls within a half length of Getaway Car. Wider out Journalism. Getaway Car is kicking away again. He is proving an elusive fugitive. Getaway Car on the swing for home by a length or so, drifting to the 6th path. Gaming on the insides under very heavy pressure. Journalism's the one setting out after Getaway Car. And at the 3/16 pole, Journalism races into the lead. Kicks past Getaway Car. Gaming is a flat third as Journalism bursts away with a 16th left to go. And Journalism, sitting on the cusp of an impactful 3-year-old season, wins the Los Al Futurity by 3.5 lengths. Getaway Car second, Gaming third, rank 4th, and Mellencamp last of the 5.
Yeah, I really like that race from Journalism there. 3.5 length victory, they called it, beating Getaway Car and Gaming. Gaming, who I had really high on my list for a while, came in second to Citizen Bull at the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Coming in 3rd place there. You kept waiting to see Gaming really kick it into place there. Journalism, if you saw that stretch run there, when they came out of the turn, went super wide on that one, and still had an out kick. It was out kicking Getaway Car by lengths and lengths on that one. So I thought Journalism had a really outstanding run there. 1:43.04, a very, very good race there from Journalism, the Los Al Futurity. Let's move on to see what happens here. Yeah, so if we look at this, you got horses like Practical Move, 1,000 Words, McKinsey. You got some really good horses there that even though they don't have a Derby place next to them, were outstanding in their own year. Horses like Practical Move, Slow Down Andy, 1,000 Words. Those were horses that were entered into the Derby, if I remember correct, and they were scratched. 1,000 Words, if I remember properly. Did he do a backflip or something like that in the stable and had to be scratched real late, something like that? And he had an authentic one. Slow Down Andy had a very successful career as well. Practical Move career cut short, unfortunately. But I mean, look at that time he dropped a 141.65. Very impressive. And Journalism putting out a 143.04 puts himself in pretty good quality there. 1,000 Words is right there. If you round up on McKenzie, pretty close to that as well. So Journalism, early on, pretty high on that horse, running an 8.5 furlong there, looking good doing it, beating a bunch of Baffert horses. Some of Baffert's better horses, in my opinion. And then you got the Jerome Stakes. Going a mile on that one. Cyclone State beating Omaha. 140 final time. Not great. We just saw a bunch of horses who were getting close to that in 8.5 furlongs. But Cyclone State did what we needed to do. When you look at that line there, let's see, do I have? Okay. So down the stretch, already had an 8-length lead. You beat who you're given, right? An 8-length lead. What's impressive here is that Omaha was able to, and as I said in my own full field rundown, is the deep closer here, and he was able to close out about 7 lengths out of that. He really carved his way through there to actually pull into second. He was still three lengths behind, but again, you're going to talk about the Kentucky Derby, longer races. Keep an eye on Omaha. That is a horse that if he stays on the trail, let's see what he does against bigger competition. I really like the closeout of this horse here. We're talking about a 7-horse race. So once he gets up into like maybe the 10s, is he still able to find his way through traffic and close out? I'm very anxious to see horse coming from Audible. Definitely like the lineage there. So we'll see what can happen with him. Cyclone State, not as high on. I just saw the fade down the stretch, but at the same time, he did go gate to wire, established a huge lead, and no one was near him. When we look at Jerome, Frenzy Fire, and I've got a delineation here between when it was 70 yards and a mile, in a mile, and when it was just a mile here. So just in comparing times, it's helpful to note that. Cyclone State with a 140, not as good as some of the other horses in previous years. All right, so here's my power rankings. Hit me up in the comments section. Let me know what you think. I am sure some of you are going to be lit on fire by some of this, but Citizen Bull, until he stops racing and he's still working out, so I imagine he's going to be in the Robert B. Lewis, or until he loses. Going to reign at the top there. East Avenue is still a little bit high on there. I want to see more from him, winner of the Claiborne Futurity. Journalism, going way up to the top there. I've got him at 3 right now. Sovereignty I'm still holding on to. For better, for worse, I could rethink that one a little bit, but winner of the Street Sense, I still want to see what he's going to do in his next race. Chancellor McPatrick, winner of the Champagne, saw him at the BC Juvenile. And then we get into a couple other horses here. Built, Barnes, and I can do this.
Patch Adams.
Once for El Hombre. Patch Adams, Barnes. The only reason I got Barnes above Patch Adams is because of the recent race, but I am still extremely high on Patch Adams. I should move him ahead of Barnes because I really do believe in that horse quite a bit. But let's see what happens. Built, I've got in there. He ran in the Gun Runner. He ran in it well. I like what he did. I like his race better than Barnes. I know you guys are going to light me on fire for that, but that's fine. That's fine. He's running 2 turns. Barnes has yet to do that. And we've seen so many Baffert horses, like Nisos last year, who run really strong at 7 furlongs and then you don't see again, right? I guess you could say the same thing about Citizen Bull, but Citizen Bull did win the Juvenile, and let's see what happens with him. I still got to have him up top. So Built, as I mentioned before, I like what he did. The Gun Runner, First Resort, winner of the Kentucky Jockey Club. Poster, I did like his Remsen run. I didn't really go through the Remsen at all, but I did like what Poster and Aviator Gooey did. running a 9 furlong race, had pretty good times in that one. And then we move on to a couple of the horses we've been talking about. Jonathan's Way, Gaming, and Sacrosanct. Closing out with Cyclone State. Could have put Omaha above him, but I'll give Cyclone State the nod since he did get the win. All right, finally, let's talk about the future here, Lecomte. Lecomte is a good race. It sounds crazy to say. You look at some of the recent races, right? Track Phantom, Instant Coffee, Call Me Midnight. But you get some Derby horses coming out of this as your winners here, right? Track Phantom, he made the Derby last year. Obviously, he started out pretty high on people's list and then faded down. High on my list and faded down. He got 11th in the Derby. Congratulations. Midnight Bourbon, a lot of us forget that he finished 5th in that Derby. What in the world's going on there? What in the wide world of sports? Enforceable War of Wills, they both got 7th. Instilled Regard got 4th. And Motam got 8th. So, not bad for a January race to have horses coming out of it like this that make their way to the Derby. And of course, as I showed on some of these other slides, you get horses that are 2nd, 3rd, 4th, possibly even 5th that make a dent in the Derby when the time comes. There you are, guys. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being you. Yeah. See you later and bet responsibly.